It's pretty cool because we have like intuition, we have hunches. Suddenly we connect one things. It's not easy for computers, and that's what this particular thing does. So let's do something that's a little bit more closer to home. Let's do something about Defcon. Defcon. Yep. Okay. Let's try to track chatter about Defcon. So you can see here, so this is a pretty limited data set, more on 2008 and early 2009. So you'll see here is these are increases in chatter. Around the time for the call for papers, Defcon call for papers, this is actually increases in chatter based on the actual conference itself. So that's the conference itself. Then here, about 2009, another increase in chatter, call for papers. So that's so obviously we know if we use we put in submissions, like paper submissions. Yep. You'll see that there's a overlay. There's a correlation between paper submissions, and Defcon, obviously. So call for papers, increase in submissions, then conference itself. This is kind of weird because this actually appeared before the call for papers. I've yet to explain that. So this is like call for papers, increase in submission. So we all know that, right? So it's as expected. But there are some things, like when you are doing data mining, that's kind of weird. Like, why did this happen? Why is this thing correlated? Like, for example, let's do this. Defcon and crime. Whoop. Okay, yeah. Let's go back there. So this was the submission. This was crime. Defcon, crime, Defcon, crime, Defcon, crime. Yeah, that's strange, right? So, conclusion. You know this, right? 1984, Big Brother. So let's do some Big Brother logic. Defcon is correlated to crime. Crime is bad. Therefore, Defcon is bad. Epic fail. Really, and the strange things you find. Strange things you find. So that was version 1. So after that Defcon thing, I actually got inspired to make a Defcon, a version 2. Like, okay, let's do a version 2. It's very similar. The only difference here is I used military chatter right now. Then I used the same thing, text garden, but I process it daily. So it's a little bit harder, but it's much more accurate now. Though I focused more on military intelligence stuff. So what has this got to do with the research? Okay, let's open that VM again. Okay, military intelligence. Yep. Okay. So I'm from Hawaii, and the past few months I've been. There are two things that I've been thinking about: North Korea and missiles. Yep. So I began trying to track military chatter or military press releases about North Korea. So here's the spikes in chatter. Obviously, you'll notice this one, right? The next. I began doing like an overlay with missiles. So it's quite obvious, right? You see the overlay here with North Korea and missiles. So it actually began somewhere here and goes up to here. So let's go to the slides. Yep. So here's the North Korea chatter. You'll see overlaid with missiles. So you'll get here. So as you can see here, there's a direct correlation with it. So as expected, what do you expect, right? So you have talk about missiles, North Korea, missiles, North Korea, missiles, North Korea, and boom, here you go. And yes, now so it's actually you can actually like see the pattern there, like going up. then there's something, then there's an action. So that was the things that I was thinking about back in Hawaii. So North Korea and missiles. So, but after that, I felt a little bit safer. So, and I began to like thinking of other stuff to use this for. So funny things like there's like strange things that what drives your research, right? So, in any case, I began doing some more overlays. I don't know why I did this, but suddenly I began like overlaying different hotbeds. Like for example, Korea, then Iraq. So I was trying to like find like correlations between different hotbed countries. So I began like starting like one by one. So as you can see here, like you see here like the Korea spike, and you have a spike in Iraq also, like chatter in Iraq. So I began like doing like I've been putting like Iran. Okay, this is going to be slower now. So I will. Yep. So as you can see here, there's also the overlay at this one particular point. So let's do it in slides because it's going to be slow. North Korea and Iraq, right? North Korea, Iraq, and Iran. Russia. So you see that particular point, right? So everything's like correlating there. There's like a nexus or something. So here it is again. As you can see here, like in this particular graph, you see a slight increase here. Then you find the nexus, and boom, it goes up. This is around. When's the North Korea one? The missile, May. I think it was May. Yep, I think so. Yeah, I believe it is May. 2009. Or was it July? July? I forgot. It's so little. So anyway, these things are what you call tipping point events. So activities which results in a worldwide shifts of instability. So have you, any of you guys read Tipping Point? The book Tipping Point. It's pretty cool. So the idea there was, in Tipping Point, there's one event, one single event, which changes things. And from this particular point, there's a tipping point event, and it goes up. So it happens everywhere, like even epidemics, trends, fashion trends, and stuff like that. So obviously, I have a theory here also. I also have a theory here. Basically, it's about human nature. So human nature and fear. So obviously, when everyone is afraid, and right now it's so easy to do that because there's like the media and all of that stuff. So there's an increase in worldwide tension, and with this increase in worldwide tension, actions are easily triggered. So it's basically human psychology, right? Human nature. Fear, tension, then suddenly action is easily triggered. Right? For example, if you are angry at someone, then you take out your anger with other people. So even if it's like totally unrelated, it gets somehow this triggers other stuff. So a wise man actually mentioned this like way before I was born. Yeah. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. So that is my first theory. So the second theory, I like the military intelligence stuff, but some of my friends in Hawaii are big conspiracy theory fans. So the second theory is Skynet. There is something out there. So anyway, that was my version 1 and version 2 of the trends analysis. So